The book A Fortunate Fed chronicles the 30-year career of FBI agent supervisor Al Scudieri. He takes a look at some of the notable cases here in Tampa that he investigated. Al is joining us now in studio. Welcome.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, thank you for being here. This is really exciting. Congrats on the book.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, so you were in the FBI for 30 years.
I sure was.
And many of those were here in Tampa.
Yes.
Yeah, so can you tell me just a little bit about that time of your life and just that career that you built?
Well, Tampa was an exciting place to be when I got here in the mid-1970s, and as I worked here through the 1990s, we had some of the more substantial and important and interesting cases going on in the entire country. Tampa was growing, it was becoming a major city, and it was developing major stories.
Yeah, so what were you doing when you were here working in Tampa?
I ended up as a supervisor of all the white-collar crime investigations in Central Florida that encompassed not only Tampa, but Orlando and Cape Canaveral and all the way down to Fort Myers.
All right, and so you're going through a lot of those cases with this new book.
Yes, that's true.
Can you share one of them with us?
There are multiple ones in there, but probably one that people who've been here a while would remember the most involved the arrest of 3 corrupt Hillsborough County commissioners who were taking bribes in order to give variances to people that wanted to develop their farms and orange orchards, things like that, have them developed into housing developments. And there were problems with some of the applications, and they didn't have the proper infrastructure, yet they would get passed anyway, and there have been questions for decades about how that was happening.
Wow. How long were you working on that case?
Probably the better part of 2 years.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. And a lot of these cases that you kind of go through, are you just giving people kind of a look into a life, you know, in the FBI and what was happening in our home city?
Yes. People who've read the book, it's different than a lot of them where it doesn't go into great depth about a single case, but rather it gives you a sampling of a lot of cases. People who've read it have told me it's kind of like a Whitman sampler. If people remember what a Whitman sampler is, you get a whole bunch of different chocolates. In this book, you get a whole bunch of different stories. But it gives you a better idea of how broad the investigative responsibility of the FBI is. Yeah,
and you kind of go into what happens when you leave work and you go home and you have a family and a normal evening. So that's kind of a different way to look at it too.
I wanted to humanize FBI agents. They're just like everybody else. They've got a life, got kids, they've got dogs, they've got friends. And funny things happen to them both on the job and off the job, and I've recounted a number of those things in the book.
Yeah, looking forward to that. And you're actually going to be having a book signing coming up on Sunday at Oxford Exchange. That'll be exciting. People can come out and get the book and see you.
I believe I'm going to see a lot of friends that I haven't seen in years.
Oh, fun.
Going to show up that figured in a lot of these cases, yes.
Yeah, very good. What do you want people when they read this book? What do you want them to take away from this?
Well, one of the principal reasons that I wrote the book was because for a while I was a national president of the former Society of FBI Agents, retired agents, former agents, and I saw how many negative books were being published about the FBI. When I came in the FBI in the 1960s, it was held in tremendous regard in this country. Today, maybe not so much. It's not quite as popular as it was, and I wanted to do something that would counteract that. Also, for the older people, particularly in this area, I thought that I wanted to preserve that history of what had happened with those cases. And finally, for young people who may be deciding that they might want a career in the FBI, I thought it gave them a good look in what it's like to be an FBI agent.
Well, very cool. Go out and check them out at that book signing. Again, that's at Oxford Exchange coming up on Sunday. Congrats again on the book. This is exciting.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for being here.